You have found the Open Eclectic Podcast, where Nate and Josh talk about everything from mobile games to books to pet peeves to cars to toys. Our interests run eclectic and we're open to more. Welcome to the Open Eclectic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Open Eclectic with my friend Josh over here.
Hi, and my friend Nate over there.
Hi. I always feel bad about right when I was saying that, I was like, I'm going to say my name first because I'm talking. But then I'm like, you know what? I want to say Josh. I'm going to say Josh's name first. I want to defer to, I don't want to be like too, feels like I'm like grandstanding or something. It's like me, and Josh.
Yeah. It's one of those things, it's kind of one of those things where like you never know. You just have to go with it.
Just let it go. Maybe switch it up.
I always think about like stealing stuff from other podcasts too that do a really good job. Like it's not called the Force Cast anymore. It's Rebel Force Radio. Those guys, they're always like, my good friend and yours, Jimmy Mack, and they introduce each other, and it's this kind of great thing. But yeah, I also don't want to be like, well, I stole it from them.
Imitation, sincerest form of flattery, and all that. I don't know that they would care.
I don't think they would either.
And, if you hear something cool and it works, I mean, just do it. It's not like you're straight up just like copying them. Like, you're not copying like everything they do and just being like a facsimile of this show. It's just, performers. I mean, what's that thing about like stand-up comedians? Like they say like, oh, everybody steals jokes.
Yeah.
From everybody else.
Well, to quote one of my favorite artists who's actually quoting another artist, you got to steal like an artist. It's fine to just rip stuff off. Just like don't pretend that it's yours if you're ripping it off. And number two, like find a way to make it your own.
Right?
Otherwise like there'd only be one podcast, there'd only be one TV show, there'd only be one movie.
Right?
Somebody would start the ball rolling. Exactly.
You got people who blaze the trails, and you got and they're, I guess, not the first person to ever do stuff. I mean, they were being inspired by something else, but it's like everything that comes after it, has its inspirations and what kind of stuff is, what got you into whatever this is, whatever it is you're doing or whatever it is they're doing, and it's like your influences, and so it's like it's a. Like you said, as long as you're not just straight up ripping it off and calling it your own, and you're kind of, you give credit where credit's due, it's like, it's kind of an honorable thing almost to kind of carry it on. And like you said, make it your own. There's always this big, like, to-do about, it seems like in music a lot. It happens in music a lot, where people are like, oh, you, Red Hot Chili Peppers, you ripped off Tom Petty, or whoever else ripped off somebody else, and it's kind of, it's like, I mean, I guess in a way they're ripping it off a little bit, I guess. I mean, everybody's kind of like,
there's literally only so much you can do.
Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly what I was trying to go for. Like I had read somewhere, probably on Reddit. Probably. Open Eclectic, still not sponsored by Reddit, by the way. So they were talking about there was some new lawsuit. It was a different artist that was being sued for copying something. It might have been like Ed Sheeran, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard an Ed Sheeran song.
I think you probably have, but you don't realize
it. Well, actually, no, I have, because I think I thought it was Justin Timberlake.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't.
It seemed like for a while, there was like a slew of musical artists where like you just, I don't know, they sounded really similar. I feel like there was a couple of guys, and they all, to me, it sounded like they were trying to be the next Michael Jackson. A little bit. Like they had that kind of sound and vibe to it. They didn't quite do the hee
Shimon.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But they definitely had that same kind of vibe and feel a little bit. Like The Weeknd for a little while was very.
I love The Weeknd.
Do you?
I haven't heard a lot of The Weeknd, but I love what he's doing. I like it.
I try and pretend like I Can't Feel My Face is about eating really spicy salsa.
But it's about cocaine.
But it's not. And it's...
I can't feel my face when I'm with you. Anyway.
But I love it.
Yeah, I do love it. So whatever. So I read it on Reddit. Some artist getting sued, and somebody made that point. They're like, it gets, like you said, it gets to a point where it's like you can only innovate so much with the time signature and style of music and all that. So it's like, okay, but yeah. So I mean, it's like clearly any podcast is going to have its influences and everything. So long story short, I don't think we should feel too bad if we crib some catchphrases from other places.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all.
So let's see. How long has it been since we recorded last? It's been 1 week since
It's been
1 week
since I looked at you.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Watching X-Files and the lights on
with all the maze on. I hope the smoker man's in this one. Oh yeah.
It's probably been a month or so, I think.
Yeah. So in our time, this is an interesting thought experiment sometimes. Maybe it's not. Actually, it'll probably turn out to be stupid, but I don't care. For us, it's been about a month. But for the listeners, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. And we've got a couple, we have 2 or 3 more. We're going to be releasing one on this coming 3 days from now, right?
Yeah.
This is Sunday night, by the way. Not that you care, but it is. So Wednesday, we're going to release number 4?
I think we're up to 4. Yeah. I think we got 2 in the can. 2 or 3 in the can.
4 or 5, maybe 6.
I'm really proud of us.
Me too.
For working ahead.
Me too.
Because, we got, as school starts and that kind of thing, there's just so much going on right at this time of the year that, I was like, there's no way we could record the last couple of weeks. And you were out of town one weekend, and I might have been out of town. And so, just, if you
vacations, family obligations, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I really like your shoes, by the way. I know we're all over the place here, but you got some cool shoes.
Thank you. For those of you who can't see them, they're Vans, and they're in the burgundy, kind of almost like a dark wine, red wine specifically.
That's a good description.
The low cut with the white stripe on the sides. I like them quite a bit. These are probably, especially for the color and the fit, probably my favorite pair of shoes that I've had in a very long time.
Are they comfortable?
Yeah, I find them to be pretty comfortable.
Because I always think that those Vans or the Converse shoes that are just flat on the bottom.
They are skateboarder shoes. They are pretty flat. Although I've noticed that the Vans, some of the newer ones they're coming out with have a comfort fit where the sole is a little thicker and there's extra memory foam padding in there.
Oh.
They've realized that some of their fan base has been aging and needs
I was gonna say when do Vans turn into old people shoes?
So yeah,
New Balance or something like that.
I don't have any of those extra comfy ones, but probably my next pair I'll think about getting the extra comfy ones. So these I've always had a huge affinity for Vans, and by always I mean literally since I was at least 4.
It's a long time.
It's a long time, and I know this because when I was a kid, I would watch Miami Vice in syndication.
Yeah. And
of course, the coolest of the cool main character, Sonny Crockett, James Sonny Crockett. He always wore these white slip-on deck shoes, and my mom was always like, "Well, those are Vans and stuff," and I was like, "I want a pair of those," and I would beg and beg and beg, and finally I would have some, and I wore the heck out of those things.
Did you have the same shoe that he had?
So to this day, actually, I haven't looked into it to know if they were even Vans or not, but they were just that kind of slip-on canvas deck shoe, because he lived on a boat with his alligator. Because
I thought that those stereotypical deck shoes were it's is it Sperry or something? There's some name.
Oh, could be, yeah.
Of course, this is probably what all the really the rich New England
he would be
polo playing people would wear.
Florida. Although he wasn't a Florida man, so I don't know.
Well, if he was a Florida man, truly, he wouldn't have shoes on.
He probably wouldn't have shoes, or they would definitely be
Sperry's. That's it.
Sperry's? Oh, nice.
Boom.
Or just some weird knockoff brand.
Anyway.
But yeah, that was my obsession. So I think a part of my affinity for Vans definitely comes from like as a kid wanting to, just wear deck shoes and live on a boat with my alligator when I grew up.
That'd be sweet.
And that was when I lived in Southern California, so the idea seemed plausible at the time. And now that I live in Nebraska, I'm like, wow, things went very different.
I mean, there's still lakes that you could live on around here.
Yeah, sure.
Capitol Beach,
sure.
You're right in town.
Yeah.
I've been there once.
Sounds like a nightmare to try and live on, though. Certainly not with my alligator, not with our winters.
Well, I mean, you keep him inside. Just like keep him in a tub or something. I don't know.
I mean, I was gonna do the whole thing. My alligator's name was gonna be Elvis and everything, just like Sonny Crockett.
I should watch. I've never actually. In my life, I've probably only seen like. I don't even think I've seen it. Like, if you put all the episodes, like chunks that I've seen together, I don't think they would even equal one episode.
Really?
I think I've seen more of Nash Bridges than I have of Miami Vice.
I found that show like in fits of insomnia. I'd like cruise my free channels on my little like bulb box TV with like the two dials to click the channels. Yeah. Those of you who have only experienced flat screens, this is going to be a total mystery to you, but that's all right.
They had a nice, satisfying clunk when you turn the channel.
Yes, they did. And I found Nash Bridges on there, and I was like, ooh, Don Johnson's in a show.
Right?
I had no idea. Cheech Marin.
That's right. He was in that show,
and
too.
As I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's just like it's basically just slightly modern Miami Vice.
Yeah.
That's a little funnier.
Yeah.
Because Cheech Marin can't help but be Cheech Marin, which I love him for.
The music probably wasn't as cool. It wasn't as edgy, I'm sure, as Miami Vice was.
Well, Miami Vice did a lot of things.
It was a pioneer or a trailblazer.
All of their. I feel like we talked about this before, but I don't care because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. So I will talk about it again, and probably again, and probably again.
It's okay.
But they coordinate the set design would coordinate the actors' outfits to their backgrounds, and then it was one of the first TV shows to have stretches where there was no dialogue and like only music. And it just blew people's minds.
Wasn't it one of the first shows, or maybe the first show, to have like actual like a popular music soundtrack, like not just like a
that I can't swear to. It did definitely have popular music soundtrack.
Phil Collins was...
He was in an episode or two.
He was?
Yes.
Phil's great.
Yeah.
I love Phil.
And it's funny,
Phil, if you're listening, I love you.
Yeah. Well, I do too. Same. Not as much as Nate, I will admit, but definitely love you.
He was also in Hook. He was the detective. The Brit detective guy.
I am going to have to go back and watch that classic Robin Williams, because I do not remember him in that at all. I heard that Glenn Close was in that movie as was it Glenn Close?
She was the Boo Box.
Yeah, the Boo Box pirate.
Not the Boo, but no, not the Boo. Yeah, that was her, and I just found that out like maybe last year. I was like, wait, that's Glenn Close? Oh my God, it's Glenn Close.
Yeah, what a bizarre...
That's hilarious. That's just awesome.
Bit thing. I wonder how... there's got to be an interview of her talking about it, because I want to know how she landed that and how she got into... did she just know what was going on and was like, I want to be in this picture. You let me do it, and I'm going to be,
Steven.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I would refuse Glenn Close. If I was making a movie and she came up to me and said, excuse me, sir, I'm going to be in this movie, I'd say, well, of course you are.
Okay, how many classic, almost like film royalty people could do that? I feel like a Meryl Streep would be one.
So, there's the...
Ben Kingsley, probably, right?
Yeah, I think Ben Kingsley probably could. I think there's probably some, Hollywood royalty. I think at this point, present day, Keanu Reeves, I bet, could walk onto any set and say, by the way, I'm in this movie.
Absolutely. But he wouldn't. Like, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't because he's too nice.
He's a gentleman.
But, if they wanted to. I feel, Meryl Streep is always held up as, that top, or, Barbara Streisand, or Dustin Hoffman, maybe.
I don't think Barbara or Dustin, much as I love them both, I don't think they have the juice to do that anymore. I think there was a point where they could have.
Yeah, but,
I think there was a point where Tom Cruise could have also.
I think he still could,
90s
because he
Tom
would
Cruise.
strike fear in people, and they would just let him do
Think
it
so?
because of what is behind him.
Scientology?
The entire weight of the Church of Scientology.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think you could be intimidated that much by Tom Cruise? I mean, granted, we don't
Me?
know Tom. Yeah,
Me?
like you personally. Like if you had a project that you're working on.
If Tom came up to me, like, tomorrow and was like, excuse me, fat bald man. Yeah. I would be very intimidated by Tom
Would
Cruise.
you? I don't know. I don't know. I want to say that I wouldn't be.
But if
Probably.
I was in the industry,
Right.
quote unquote, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people in the industry, and there's a lot of the people that are in the industry aren't it's behind the scenes stuff. It's the thankless type work, and
Sure.
I don't know how they feel when they're, if they ever meet, big actors or whatever, if they're just like, yes.
I think I've heard some interviews from some actors who are like big names now that get starstruck from other actors that they either grew up with or were just adjacent to that they haven't worked with, that kind of thing. So I think that kind of makes sense. I don't know. I don't know if Tom Cruise could walk onto any, because that's really the threshold too. It's like somebody who could walk onto any movie, regardless of its genre or production value, and could just be like, I'm going to be in this movie. I don't know. I definitely think that like Jennifer Lawrence could do it.
Really?
Kind of, yeah.
I feel like she's been like, she's not, her star has kind of waned.
Really?
I mean, she was huge for like 5 or 6 years, but like, when was the last time you heard anything from Jennifer Lawrence?
Well, it's not like in like the lead role, but it's in that same thing like in Hook, where it's like,
True.
She walks in and says, I'm going to be in this movie, and they said, of course you are. Here's your makeup and your costume. By the way, we're going to put you in this boo box. I think
Not the boo box.
for an equivocal type role, because I mean, I don't think anybody in Hollywood could walk onto a set and be like, I'm taking over this movie, and it would just happen.
Well, no, I don't think so. Now,
with the
is that
exception of
what
Robin
happened
Williams.
with her with Glenn Close? She just walked on and like,
I don't know the full story behind that.
I think I'd read a little bit about it.
I hear rumors and whispers.
Did Glenn Close play a pirate?
Yes, she did.
Oh my goodness, 12 hidden celebrity cameos. Should we just like Google stuff and then just like
I think this is happening.
talk about it?
Number 1, or first on the list.
Okay, well, so do you want me to start with number 1 on the list here? It starts with 1. I feel like they should have started with 12. But
It's hard to know. That doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
okay. So Richard Branson in Casino Royale.
This might be an offensive question. Who is Richard Branson?
See, I was actually thinking that, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's the Virgin like airline, the rich dude who founded Virgin Airlines and recently flew into space. And
Jeff Bezos?
the other one.
I don't know who the other one is.
Anyway, so
All right, cool. Good for
he's
him.
a rich guy who owns Virgin Atlantic, or the Virgin Group, which I think includes an airline and record company. I think they have a record company. Anyway, so he was in Casino Royale. I did not know that. It's
Okay.
been a while since I've seen Casino Royale.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, now we're going old school. A film I still haven't seen, but I need to see. George Harrison in Life of Brian.
I also have not seen Life of Brian. So George Harrison is of the Beatles?
Cockroaches.
Beatles,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yep.
good. So I'm actually not a Beatles fan. I actually kind of
That's
they're
okay.
just kind of okay. So if I remember correctly, not only was he in Life of Brian, but he financed. I want to say he financed Life of Brian, or he financed the Monty Python movie.
Okay, yeah. So it says here he co-produced Life of Brian. The group, the Monty Python group couldn't finance their second film.
Yeah.
So George Harrison, who was a longtime fan, put up his own money and started a production company to fund it.
Yeah. Because he loved the Flying Circus show that Monty Python did.
He was briefly in an uncredited role. And this article's on Mental Floss, and there's little YouTube clips of each appearance. Number 3, Chris Isaak in The Silence of the Lambs. Chris Isaak was a musician in the 80s. I'm trying to remember what his... Sorry, we're really well informed about this list.
Yeah, totally. Chris Isaak, American musician and occasional actor. While he is widely known for his hit "Wicked Game," which I'm not familiar with, and
I've probably heard it before, but
and the song "Baby Did a Bad Thing" and "Somebody's Crying."
Baby did a bad thing.
Apparently has a signature 1950s rock and roll style and crooner sound. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he was in Silence of the Lambs. He was a SWAT team commander.
Yes, okay. I pulled up his picture. I recognize him from Silence of the Lambs.
Number 4, Cameron Crowe, who is a director, appeared in Minority Report.
Cameron Crowe. Did you see Minority Report?
Yes.
Okay.
Multiple times. I like it.
I did too. I thought it was I thought it was a very interesting, funny. Speaking of Tom Cruise.
So I was just thinking, what if we're going through this list and we find out that the thing we were talking about, even though it's what I Googled, Glenn Close doesn't actually show up in this list. We'll find out.
That could be crazy.
Anyway, so we're on number 4. Cameron Crowe. I believe he directed... What did he direct? Crap.
Cameron Crowe, American director, producer, screenwriter, journalist, blah, 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 blah.
There was a movie that was basically about his life or his becoming a
His film
writer.
credits include Almost Famous,
That's
Vanilla
it.
Sky,
That's
Jerry
it.
Maguire, Say Anything, We Bought a Zoo, Elizabethtown.
Okay, so Cameron Crowe is spotted as a man reading a newspaper on the subway in Minority Report. Also, apparently, Cameron Diaz and Paul Thomas Anderson are also passengers on the train, but their cameos didn't make the final cut.
Interesting.
Lloyd Kaufman in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Director James Gunn cast his mentor, Lloyd Kaufman, the president and founder of Troma Entertainment, in a small role as a prison inmate in Guardians of the Galaxy. Ron Jeremy in Ghostbusters. Ron Jeremy,
That one I knew about.
I did not know about that.
Really? Yeah.
No. Ron Jeremy has had quite a turn lately. He's he's on trial, or he was on trial in the last year for
Oh, really?
really serious allegations. I believe maybe sexual assault type allegations. But anyway, so he was in Ghostbusters. He's in a crowd of people looking up after the containment unit explosion at Ghostbusters HQ. Oh, here we go. Number 8 is Glenn Close in Hook.
Nice. She made the cut.
So she plays a pirate named Gutless. It's the bearded pirate that Captain Hook punishes with a stay in the boo box.
The boo box.
Oh, here's a sweet one. Peter Jackson in Hot Fuzz.
Really?
I didn't know he was in Hot Fuzz.
I loved Hot Fuzz, though.
Hot Fuzz is awesome.
That's such a ridiculous, over-the-top, and understated movie somehow.
Narp. Oh, another one. I think I knew about this one. Kate Blanchett in Hot Fuzz. She plays the uncredited role as Janine, Nicholas Angel's forensic scientist ex-girlfriend. So she's in a lab suit.
Like a lab get up. Okay.
It's like they're investigating a crime, obviously, and they're talking on the phone at the beginning.
I think Kate Blanchett could probably get away with walking onto movies and being like, "Hello, I think I'm going to be in this picture."
I think so.
And they'd be like, "Of course."
Yeah, clearly we've been waiting for you to show up so you can sit in this chair that we made for you.
I think they would apologize. They'd be like, "You know what? We're so sorry that we weren't prepared for you. I'm just let's get you makeup right here."
Yeah, I think she'd definitely be up there. Okay. Ian Brown in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Ian Brown from the Britpop band The Stone Roses.
Oh, yeah, of course. I don't know who that is.
Some of this, come on, Mental Floss. I feel like you're better than this. I'm sure he's a cool guy, and the band is cool. I've never heard of them. Spike Jonze in The Game.
Ooh, The Game. With Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
Yes.
I loved The Game. That movie, granted I watched it in college, so I was kind of ripe to having my mind blown by maybe basic movies, so I should go back and watch it again. But that movie was just, like, opened up my mind to, like, a new level of possibilities of what one could expect from movies.
See, I'd never seen that one. I'm trying to think what that one It's a game, right?
So, Sean Penn is Michael Douglas's kind of loser brother who's been into a lot of trouble, and you know, he's got like the classic like what do you need now and kind of stuff, and Michael Douglas is like this powerful man with like this huge business, and you know, he inherited it from his father and has kept it going and lives in their estate. He's a little Ebenezer Scroogey in some ways.
Michael Douglas is?
Yeah, where he does nothing for his own enjoyment. It's literally all about like business, and that's it. And so Sean Penn gives him a gift that he can like choose to accept or whatever. He's like, "This is for you, and just like go do it. It's such a life-changing experience. Like, I'm all clean now, and I don't need anything from you." And so he does it, and it just, the movie continues to unfold, and it's very it's kind of twisty in some ways, and from what I remember anyways, it was really good. Of course, they are both fantastic, top-notch actors. So
Sean Penn gives the gift to Michael Douglas, to this straight-laced, like, business-only guy.
Yeah, and they're in the movie they're brothers, which is hard to believe in some ways, but it was also made 20 years ago.
Yeah. So. Well, so the director is David Fincher, who has made some kick-ass, really, like, mind-bending films. Like, he's made... what are the movies he's made? Well, Seven is one of them, which is great. Have you seen Seven?
I have seen Seven.
Yeah. Seven is... it'll mess you up. It's a pretty great movie.
Yeah, he also did Fight Club.
He directed Alien 3?
And Zodiac.
Yeah. He's directed some, looks like, music videos, commercials. Curious Case Benjamin Button. Oh, he did Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
Social Network.
A lot of these movies I've noticed are kind of, even though they're really grounded in reality, they're still kind of surrealist in some ways. They have this kind of, I don't know, slightly off-tilt feel to them.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, Fight Club is also one that I, of course, watched in college and was like, "Whoa, Fight Club!" Now I'm like, well,
we're all Robert Paulson,
aren't we all? Seven, I think, holds up. I submit to you today, here and now, Seven holds up better than Fight Club.
Yeah, and see, like, Fight Club was definitely like the trendy movie to watch, like back,
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my god, Fight Club, and quote Fight Club.
You haven't
so
seen
great.
Fight
Oh my
Club?
god.
Yeah.
And then some people are still like Fight Club, but yeah, I think Fight Club is great, but I kind of agree. Like, as dark as Seven is, I could probably say it's a better movie.
Yep. And even Zodiac, which is in some ways is about the actual Zodiac killer that was never caught. It's, man, like I said, it's grounded in reality, but it's very surreal, and it feels like you're
definitely
in the looking glass, so to speak.
Let's see.
So what movie was he in? Did you say? Sorry.
Okay, so yeah, number 12. It's so it was The Game. The cameo was Spike Jonze. He plays a paramedic who helps Michael Douglas's character after he falls through a glass skylight.
Yeah.
So it says the director Fincher and Jonze are good friends who both got started filmmaking through music video industry. So we're like, hey man, you want to be in a movie? Sweet.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That was cool, but I gotta say I'm a little disappointed by some of the movies they put on here. Because I'm like, really? There's got to be better cameos than this.
So Daniel Craig was in Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
I believe, but as like a stormtrooper or a First Order trooper. Sorry, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was kind of a cool one because he's in a helmet. Like you don't know it's him. He knows it's him.
Does he talk? I can't remember. Does he talk?
His character talks. I don't know for sure
that his actual voice
doing the voice though. You loosen these restraints. I'll tighten those restraints. You'll loosen these restraints. I'll loosen these restraints. You know, ye old Jedi mind trick.
You will loosen
Classic.
these restraints.
Yeah, I definitely feel that list kind of lacked a little bit of like star power though.
Yeah, like some of it, or a lot of them were like, oh, it's a director, or it's this, or it's like it's some Brit pop band guy. I was expecting like, you know, a Tom Cruise somewhere, or you know, something.
Wasn't there? Man, I didn't write it down. I thought there was a movie recently where I heard it was like Bill Murray or No, it was Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell is in. Dang, what movie is it? But he's just there, like eating in a restaurant or something, but there's like a full like snippet of time where you see it's him and you can tell it's him, but he has no business being in the movie whatsoever. He's just randomly there. Man, for the life of me, I can't remember what that movie that was.
I don't know. Okay, so I found a BuzzFeed list.
Not a big fan of BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed, who gets all their content from Reddit. They just, you know, troll the top post, and they're like, hey, we can make a great BuzzFeed article. Anyway, so this is, I think, more what we're looking for. Now, clearly we can edit some of this out if this gets to be too tedious.
You know.
Okay, so this is like, they asked the members of their community who would be the best, like, if someone won an Academy Award for Best Cameo Appearance, who should have won? Okay, and here's their list. It's 28. And they say there's light spoilers ahead for several films, so I guess... Anyway, number 1 is Stephen King in It Chapter 2.
I did hear he was in that.
Yep. Which, it's not that surprising because he tends to show up in, like, somewhere in any of his stories that, you know, that are turned into movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he shows up in It Chapter 2. It's pretty funny. He's like he runs a, I think it's a bookstore, or some store that he's in. And you know, he's the guy behind the counter. He's kind of goofy. Number 2, Donald Glover, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Because he has like a speaking role in it too. Because he's like gonna rob a car or something, and Spider-Man webs him to the car, and he's like, what am I supposed to do? You gotta let me go. And he was like, it'll wear off eventually. The web will break down after 12 hours or something like that. He's like, what? I don't have that kind of time. And he's like, well, maybe you have to, you know, think about what you've done and maybe make better choices in life. Because, you know, it's like Spider-Man, the fledgling child superhero, basically.
I'm doing good stuff.
Which I got to admit, he's definitely one of my favorite takes on Spider-Man.
The Homecoming one? Who is that?
Yeah.
Who?
Tom Holland.
Okay. Have not seen that one yet. Need to.
So the scene with Will Ferrell in it, I found it. It's in the movie Impractical Jokers, the movie, as a background extra, and he's literally he's like a background extra that's like 4 people in even. It's not even front and center background, so to speak. But apparently the movie was produced by Ferrell's company, Funny or Die. Co-produced the movie. But yeah, he's just there eating. He has no speaking role. Doesn't make eye contact with the camera or anything. He's just there.
I have not seen that one.
I haven't either.
What was the Bill Murray one you were talking about just now?
I couldn't remember. I thought it was Bill Murray. Man.
I mean, Bill Murray shows up in a lot of places you wouldn't expect him to show up.
A lot of places.
Basically, if it's like, I don't think this would be something Bill Murray would do, he would show up.
Yeah, he would do it.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Murray just, you know, walked down the stairs here and was like, hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. He played himself in Zombieland.
Yeah, that was great.
That was so
That
good.
was so awesome.
That was so good.
We won't spoil what happened.
We won't, but it's definitely, even if you don't like the premise of comedies or zombie movies,
Zomedies?
or if you hate, you know,
Did you hear what I did there?
yeah,
Zomedies?
that could that hasn't spawned its own genre of movie is kind of surprising to me because I love Zombieland.
Did you watch the second one?
I haven't yet.
I haven't either. I have heard that. Well, I read like in one place online that it maybe was a little disappointing, but I don't know.
I mean,
I would still want to watch it. I would want to watch the first one though.
That could be a future podcast episode of sequels that were surprisingly good, that are not Toy Story 2 or 3.
Yes, we can branch out.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go number 3. This is a funny one. Dustin Hoffman in The Holiday. You see him browsing behind Kate Winslet while Jack Black is talking about The Graduate. It's such a funny little visual gag.
That is kind of hilarious. So I didn't watch that movie. I watched like a little part of that movie.
I saw it once, I think.
But that is just such a weird mashup of actors in that movie.
Because it's Jack Black getting with Kate Winslet.
I don't know if he gets with Kate.
Well,
Winslet.
wasn't she like?
But like, there's a mix-up, and they end up on holiday together. But then the two other people that they were supposed to be on holiday with also end up together, right? And it's like Jude Law.
It's vaguely coming back to me now.
Yeah, it was just like a weird.
But it was one of those like feel good romantic comedies. So
yeah, absolutely.
But that
because Jack Black is Jack Black.
Yes,
like he has a real hard time not being Jack Black. Absolutely.
I feel like he could show up at any film, and they would put him in it.
Do you think that's how he got into the movie The Jackal?
He was in
with Bruce Willis. Yeah. So he was it The Jackal or was it The Day of the Jackal?
It was The Jackal.
So The Jackal, Day of the Jackal is a different movie. So The Jackal is loosely based on like a real life assassin, very loosely, which is Bruce Willis. And so Bruce goes around and like...
Wait, he's not an actual assassin. He's just an actor playing an assassin.
I feel like I couldn't say one way or the other without getting in trouble.
Okay.
He could be.
I mean, Bruce Willie, he could be.
Big Willie style. So he... Yeah, we're just tying all like our own like podcast lore into stuff. Big Willie Style by Will Smith is actually about Bruce Willis. From now on, in my head, that's canon. But anyway, so in The Jackal, Bruce Willis is an assassin, and so he goes to different people for like different things like passports and vehicles, and he goes to this guy to make him a highly specialized like robotic gun, and that guy he goes to is Jack Black. And it's like this weird... He's still very Jack Black.
Okay, I think I've told you this before.
I don't want to spoil it.
Jack Black is in Waterworld.
Yes.
But he's not on there long enough to be like Jack Black, though.
Right.
Like
because he's like a background character, basically.
Well, he's one of those weird he's one of the part of the smokers like gang.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, you haven't seen Waterworld, stop what you're doing, pause the podcast, and go watch Waterworld. It is a cinematic masterpiece. I don't care what anybody says.
It's a cinematic nightmare.
He means masterpiece.
It is a really good movie. It is 100% worth watching. I do not regret watching it at all, but like the producing that movie was a cinematic nightmare.
Yes, it was. They had all kinds of trouble, all kinds of issues with that. It was almost a miracle it got made. Yeah. Really.
So Jack Black is also in Ice Age.
Really?
He's part of the Saber gang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's like he only has like 2 lines of dialogue, and like on the second one I was like, man, that voice sounds familiar. Who is that? But it's quick.
Jack Black.
So then you move on, and then it's so his character is Zeke in Ice Age.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So number 4 that is the Glenn Close Hook appearance. We talked about that already. Number 5 is David Bowie in Zoolander. He's a judge on the walk-off between Derek and Hansel.
Yes, he plays himself. Which is sometimes I find that to be like the best kind of cameo is when somebody comes on and plays a version of themselves. There was a TV show called Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
Mm-hmm.
And it had James Vanderbeek as a version of James Vanderbeek, where he's like a total jerk to everybody, and it was kind of great.
Okay, so talking about, we're just all over the place here, and that's fine. James Vanderbeek also is in addition to Dawson's Creek, which I never watched. He was in How I Met Your Mother.
Is he?
As he was like the Canadian boyfriend of Robin, the very proud of her Canadian heritage character in that show.
Okay. So you know who I think I reserve the right to change this, of course, but I think I've realized who my ultimate actor is that could walk onto any movie. And I'll take it a step further, not just demand to be in it, but seamlessly transition into that movie.
Okay.
Alan Tudyk.
Yes. Isn't he basically in every movie?
He might be, actually. I'm pretty sure every movie is accredited to him.
So speaking of that, look, this is the next one. This is one after that. Look what it...
Hey, Alan Tudyk in Zootopia.
Have not seen that.
That's really?
No, I haven't.
Zootopia, you gotta watch.
Okay, so before...
Your boy could watch that.
Yes, so we should watch that. Before we get to Zootopia, this next one is great, and I forgot about it until I saw this. Matt Damon in Eurotrip.
Is that where he's like the... Yeah.
Scotty doesn't know sequence?
Doesn't know. Yeah.
He's like this, like...
That comes up
pierced,
a lot.
like, shaved head...
Punk band.
Punk dude.
That comes up a lot on like TikToks of what fictional band do you want to be real? And usually it's either a Phineas and Ferb reference or it's a reference to that.
What about Drive Shaft?
Drive Shaft from J.J. Abrams' multi-link universe musical band, yes. Drive Shaft.
Or Jesse's band from Breaking Bad. He's in a band. They like one episode. They're like recording or performing, and it's just in one episode, and it's like just like one scene, and then that's all you hear about the band after that.
Yeah,
because he didn't have time to be in the band after that.
Well, I mean, when
you're making that blue magic. Okay, next one. Alan Tudyk, Zootopia. Voices a character named Duke Weaselton.
Yep.
A delightful play on his equally awesome role as Duke of Weaselton in Frozen. Weaselton.
My daughter loves Frozen.
Who doesn't love Frozen?
I watched that. Actually, one time my family was babysitting your son on like a Friday. I can't remember why.
Okay, yeah.
When he was real little, still in the diapers.
Yeah.
So we watched Frozen.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since we've seen that. Should watch that again. I think we tried to watch. We did watch Frozen 2 one time when his grandma was out last year, and I don't know how much he was into it. But next one, Keanu Reeves, Always Be My Maybe.
Okay, does that
never heard it.
What counts as a cameo? I feel like that doesn't count as a cameo.
Have you seen that movie?
No, but I know I'm judging this even though I haven't seen it.
So remember, this is user submitted content here.
Okay.
So there, and then the comment is like, he was so hilarious in that.
My take on a cameo would be like if they're in one scene, then that would be a cameo. But I know for a fact he's in at least 2 in that movie. And the clips I've seen of that those clips alone make me want to watch it. But
see, I had never heard of that movie, so
yeah, it's got Jim from The Office in that movie.
Oh, Jim Halpert?
Yeah.
John Krasinski.
Well, so that's a reference to that episode we talked about where they have an actor friend who pretends to be Jim, but he's like an Asian guy. He's in that movie.
Oh, he's in that too?
Yeah, he's not actually Jim.
Oh my God.
Jim, it's that guy.
That's awesome. Okay, next one. Chris Evans, Thor: A Dark World. He played Loki playing Captain America, and he was excellent.
Okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's, whatever. Marvel movie. Michael Cera, This Is the End.
Never heard of that one.
That's the like a post. That's like the Seth Rogen post-apocalyptic, or well, apocalyptic and then post-apocalyptic movie. I think. Yes.
Michael Cera is such a weird niche actor.
Yeah,
it feels like.
I feel like you really. I don't know. I still haven't seen Arrested Development.
I've seen a bunch
like,
of that.
I haven't watched. I've seen a few episodes, but I haven't like watched the whole thing, and I have no idea what's really going on, other than the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana stand.
I had $200,000 in the walls
of the banana stand. I always tell you there's money in the banana stand.
Oh my god,
Dad! Nobody knew what you were talking about. That's another one of those weird like surreal movies, a little bit, or shows. Sorry. It's great. It's just, it's real weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. The possibilities are endless. You're like, we should do this, and we should do that, and we should do this. So that's just another one that, we need to watch. Okay, the next one. Billy Idol, the wedding singer.
Yes, as himself, again.
Yeah.
It was great. So that counts as a cameo for me, because it's like one scene where the big tough guy in that movie is like, you don't want to mess with me, Billy. Stay out of this. And Billy just, of course, socks him out. Although, okay, so that's based on my criteria of you have to be in one scene.
Okay.
I have a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
So in The Wedding Singer, they use part of his 80s music video, White Wedding, in the movie. Because they're like watching MTV or a music video of some kind. And
Yep.
So it must not be the 80s. Anyway, whenever that takes place. But yeah, it's the 80s. So like there's that scene like from his music video, and that's part of the story is like they're watching it, and then later on they're on like an airplane and suddenly Billy Idol's there.
Okay.
So like does that count?
The music video doesn't count.
Doesn't count? Okay.
Because it could have just easily been they watched it and he never shows up. I don't think. I mean, it's always kind of it tickles me a little bit when when they watch something real, or they like, oh, look at this, But I don't think it counts as a cameo. So I think so.
Cool.
I think it counts. Okay, next one. I didn't know about this one. Dan Aykroyd, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, 1984. He's only in it for a split second and helps Indy, Short Round, and Willie get on a plane in Shanghai.
No kidding. Really? Dan Aykroyd? You gotta be kidding me.
Huh.
Sweet mother of Abraham Lincoln. It's the prospector.
That's cool. Okay, the next one is one we talked about. Bill Murray, Zombieland.
Yeah. That also, I think, is pushing my personal limits of what
because he's in there for a good amount of time.
It's like a plot device because they go to Bill Murray's mansion in Hollywood, and then he's there. So it's kind of, I don't know.
I mean, but okay. Let's think about it this way: like, you're shocked when he shows up, right? Okay, you're like, oh my god, it's Bill Murray. He was probably not on the movie poster. Nope. Nobody knew that he was going to be in it.
True, it was a surprise to me.
So I know that he's in there for longer than kind of like what we're talking about, like just briefly.
Yeah.
But I think but he's got such a star power that like instantly recognizable that when you see him and you had no idea, because you're watching this movie, you're like, okay, these are the people that are in it. Yep, I knew about that. Yeah, okay, this is cool, whatever. And then you're like, oh my god, it's Bill Murray.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, next one. Jodie Benson, Enchanted. So I have not seen Enchanted. I don't know who she is until I read this.
Enchanted. Is that the one with Anne Hathaway?
No, it's Amy Adams, I believe. She's like a princess.
Maybe I'm thinking of Ella Enchanted. Maybe.
Yes, Enchanted. I think. Well, I could be totally wrong because I haven't seen it. But I think this is Amy Adams is like a storybook princess, like that comes to the real world or something.
No, it's the other way. That's right. It's the one where she's like
she becomes a princess?
It's in some ways it's like a Hallmark movie. So she's like the powerful businesswoman in New York or LA or one of those cities. and a prince from like a fantasy time, medieval time, is brought to present day. And she
okay.
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, so the significance of Jodie Benson is that she is the voice of Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay.
But she's like a real person in here and not a cartoony thing. So I did not know about that. I didn't see the movie. I had no idea what it was about.
I don't think I've seen it either, actually.
I mean, I have seen Little Mermaid a long time ago, but not Enchanted.
I've seen it more recently, having a daughter.
I imagine. Under the sea. Under the sea. Okay. Next one. So this is one I feel like we both knew about this one. Peter Jackson in the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yes, did know about that.
He always just managed to show up like very briefly in one scene. In like each movie, right?
I want to say yes, it's each movie.
Was he in the Hobbit movies? Was he in?
I can't remember.
Because I know I've seen the Lord of the Rings so many times that I'm like, oh yeah, there's Peter Jackson. Oh, there are his kids. His kids are in it too.
His kids are in it too, yeah. And then I look for the guy, right? One of the elves is from. It's the guy from Flight of the Conchords. Not Jermaine Clement, the other guy who, unfortunately, his name I don't remember. He's a huge Lord of the Ring fan, and that's an example of somebody who begged to be in a movie and was allowed to do it. He even has like speaking lines.
In which one?
So he's the elf that's like, there was once an alliance between men and elves. We come to honor that alliance.
Oh, that guy?
That guy.
That guy?
If that's the guy, if I have my facts straight, he's the one, and he is part of.
Okay, I gotta look this up.
Although now that I'm looking at a picture of Flight of the Conchords guys, I'm questioning if that's correct.
Hold on. Yes, he is. Look.
Is that him? What's his name?
Well, no, it's not that guy though.
Not that guy.
It's a different
guy.
It's a different elf.
Okay, so he's a different elf.
See, he
looks in there.
Look, he looks. It's this guy.
Yes, that's the guy.
So it's not this. It's not quite that same guy, but I mean, yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, he's the guy who campaigned for it and got into it.
Wouldn't that be fun if you could just be like, you know what? I hear they're making this movie. I'm a big fan of this whole, that whole thing, and
yeah.
I really want to be in the movie. I'm gonna send a tweet to Peter Jackson.
Exactly.
And everything else is history. If only. Okay, number 16. Jimmy Buffett in Jurassic World. Haven't seen Jurassic World.
The new one? Is that one of the newer ones?
Yeah, 2015.
Okay.
I own it. I bought like the collection this past summer because I've seen the first 3. The first one is a classic, of course. Just historical.
I don't think I've ever watched any of the sequels. I've only seen the very first movie.
You haven't seen Lost World?
No. Nope. I know.
What?
I know.
Well, you can You could borrow my set if you'd like.
I have a question about those. Like, is Jeff Goldblum in the rest of them?
Well, he's in he's the main character in the second one.
Okay.
Because it's all about him.
I'd be willing
and
to see
his
the
adopted daughter.
All right.
Yeah, that one's all right. That one's okay. Third one, I believe, is the return of Sam Neill. He comes back.
He kind of has a history of doing that a little bit, doesn't he? I feel like he did that with the Jaws movies, where he was in one and he came back.
Sam Neill was in Jaws?
I swear he was in. Maybe he was just in one. He was in. I want to say he was in the one with Michael Caine.
Oh, so
Michael Caine.
Other than the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Jimmy Buffett. So he's only in it for a second, but he's holding 2 margaritas while evading dinos.
Oh, because of
Margaritaville.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always think of speaking of weird sequel movies, it's not a sequel at all, but there was a movie called Club Dead or something like that. It was a Broken Lizard movie.
Club Dread.
Club Dread?
Yes.
So yeah, it was like a movie they tried to make after Super Troopers, And there's a guy, is it Bill Paxton who's in that? And he's like a washed up singer dude, and someone is like, play Margaritaville. He's like, no, it's Pina Colada Town, and I wrote my song 3 years before you came out with that, before that hack came out with his rip-off song of my classic.
Pina Colada Town.
Yeah. It's just, that is, so I will say that that's probably the best part of that movie. I love Broken Lizard, but that movie was just atrocious.
See, I think you're the one who recommended that movie to me, and I watched it and I enjoyed it.
I don't think I did. I don't know.
Well, because we're big on that Broken Lizard thing, because like Beer Fest, and
Super Troopers,
which is great.
I thought Beer Fest was underrated, actually.
I really like Beer Fest.
Even as a guy who's a teetotaler. For the uninitiated, your vocabulary word of the day is teetotaler, which means I don't drink alcohol.
How can you like a movie about beer?
I mean, I'm a complicated guy, Mac.
Do we want to keep going through this list? It's a big list.
Let's do it.
Should I just like rapid fire it?
I'm gonna
just like maybe not talk about each one and just go like just continue.
I'm gonna edit this part. Just like scroll through and find like a gem.
All right, so Will Ferrell, Wedding Crashers, hilarious.
Yeah.
He's not like, but again, that kind of stretches the cameo because he's in like a whole.
Yeah.
It's an entire scene, and he talks a lot. Ma, meatloaf. More meatloaf.
That's probably his third greatest role. And I'm notoriously a Will Ferrell hater.
Okay, so third, what would be the first two?
Okay, maybe his fourth greatest role.
Okay, first three.
Okay, my favorite is his appearance in the Lego Movie. His role in the Lego Movie.
Okay.
For me, that's number one. Number two is...
Wait. You say his appearance because he plays the evil overlord guy. I mean, they're kind of the same, but he plays Lord Business and he's also
the dad.
The dad.
Yes.
You're talking about together or just the dad?
Both bits.
Lord Business.
His roles in the Lego Movie are fantastic, and he does them very well.
Okay, so
that's number one for me. Number two will probably always be Zoolander.
Mugatu.
Magnum. Number three.
So hot right now.
Blades of Glory.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of the few movies I like that has him in it in a main role that I can tolerate.
Yep.
And then that one would be number four.
Okay. All right, let's see. Keith Richards, Pirates of the Caribbean, blah, blah, blah. Okay, he's Jack Sparrow's dad, yeah.
I feel like that one's pretty...
I mean, that's basically who Johnny Depp like modeled his performance after, right?
Yeah. I think
that was
that's
like
one
the
of
joke,
the
right?
coolest cameos, but it's kind of a gimme in that, I mean, anybody who's seen the movies or is even casually interested in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies knows. Oh yeah, no, that's the guy he modeled his look after. Now he's in the movies.
Brad Pitt, Deadpool 2. I don't think I've seen Deadpool 2.
That is one of my favorite cameos. Also,
really,
I won't say it's one of the best, but it is one of my favorites.
Well, now I really want to see Deadpool 2.
If you liked the first one, I would suspect you'd like the second one.
I did like the first one. Did you see the movie Keanu?
There's a movie called Keanu?
Yes.
Does it have Keanu in it?
It's about a cat named Keanu.
No way. No, I've never heard of this.
So it was made by like the Key and Peele guys.
Okay.
By Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
So Anna Faris.
Ooh, I do like Anna Faris.
Is in that, and it's...
Is this like a parody? It's got to be like a parody movie because she's got like a bride look going on in that picture you just showed me, like Kill Bill style.
Yeah, kind of. It's God, it's been a while since I've seen it. I believe that she plays herself.
Interesting.
Yeah, she plays herself in. So basically, these two guys are looking for their cat, or one. I think it's Jordan Peele's cat, Keanu. They're searching all through like L.A. for their cat, and they somehow, for a time, they hook up with Anna Faris and some other like Hollywood folks, and it gets really weird.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons, Spider-Man: Far From Home.
I did.
He's like a newscaster.
I have not seen Far From Home yet.
I
want to. I really liked the other Tom Holland Spider-Man movies.
Did you see Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yes.
Mike Myers?
Yes,
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Mike Myers was in that. So, does that count as a cameo? Because he's playing another person. It's not like...
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
He's not playing Mike Myers. You know, it's
yeah,
not
I
like
mean, it counts because, I mean, I don't think they don't have to play themselves. They just have to, like...
Well...
It's like a surprising appearance.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
I mean, I feel
cool
like...
with that.
I mean, we could define it both ways, I guess, but I think this is like... a little more loosely, like it's more of like a shock or surprising to see him.
Because Mike Myers is kind of like the king of bit parts right now, because he was in that, and he was also in. There's a movie called The Monuments Men, which is based on the real events of some guys whose purpose was to preserve, like historical pieces of art and literature and different things during World War II, and so he was in that. He just had this like real bit part, and I had to like look for a minute. I was like, wait, is that Mike Myers? It's Mike Myers.
Now, okay, speaking of World War II, he was in Inglourious Bastards, right? He was one of the officer guys like that was briefing them at the beginning, towards the beginning, right?
Was he?
Yeah, they were briefing Fassbender. He's all like, he's always like, he's very proper British, blah, blah, blah. The Queen.
I totally forgot about that. I'm going to give Mike Myers an extra credit here. Oh, an extra credit here for Baby Driver. Because what they wanted to do, yes.
Wait.
Edgar Wright's Baby Driver.
Hold on. I saw that, and I don't remember him being in that movie.
He wasn't. But he gets a credit anyways in my book. Because what they wanted to do is get Michael Myers masks for what they were going to do for robbing the bank, but they couldn't get the rights. And so they called up Mike Myers thinking, hey, wouldn't that be funny if that was like a line of dialogue where they were like, this isn't Michael Myers, this is Mike Myers from Austin Powers. And so he was like, well, yeah, that sounds great, do it. So that's how he got in there. So I think he gets credit for that, in my opinion.
Okay. I think it fits the spirit of what we're talking about here.
I think that's the molehill I'll die on, actually. That's fight me. He gets credit.
I don't want to fight you.
No, not
I agree
you
with
personally.
You.
I mean,
you out there.
You out there. Send me your angry letters about how I'm wrong. And I'll, I don't know, read them.
Okay. Let's see. Some of these other ones I'm like, whatever. Okay, Neil Patrick Harris in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Isn't he in all of those Harold and Kumar movies? Like, he shows up randomly.
I think so, yeah.
It's just like this really weird, because he plays himself.
Is he playing himself? Yeah.
It's always kind of.
I've seen this one. I don't know if I've seen any of the other ones.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of those.
Yeah, hijinks and like crazy-ish happens.
Like blackouts and
drugs and just police and all that stuff.
Constantly in trouble.
That's
how I picture him in real life, actually. No reason at all to think of him that way, but like that's how I think of him.
And it's almost like it'd be like an extension of his character from How I Met Your Mother.
It would. Barney
Stinson.
Barney.
Maybe not. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen both of those. Ming-Na Wen Mulan 2020. She was the voice actor in the animated movie, so it was cool to see her show up in the live-action version. I have seen neither of those. Which I know a lot of people are like, you haven't seen the animated one?
You should.
I know. I know there was a lot of like backlash about the live-action one that came out, but...
Yeah, I haven't seen it. The main reason I considered watching it was because Donnie Yen's in it. And Donnie Yen is... pretty fantastic. So yeah, Ming-Na Wen is like, she holds like a Disney hat trick, right? Because she's in, she's the voice of Mulan. She's in The Mandalorian. So she's Star Wars.
Okay.
And isn't she in like a Marvel movie too?
She's also in superhero drama Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So
the show. TV show.
Yeah, so she's in. Yeah, that's about the biggest hat trick you can hit is being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, animated Disney, and then Star Wars, at the present time.
Yep.
So those of you who are listening us in the year, 5023, I'm curious what your hat trick would be then. Please discuss.
Okay. Kevin Bacon, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's a classic movie that I haven't seen.
Same.
It's kind of on my list of ones that
I've heard it's a really, really great film.
Honestly, if we still had Blockbuster, I'd probably have watched it by now.
Yeah. Walking up and down the aisle. I was like, you know what?
That's right. This was on my list, wasn't it? Yeah. I miss Blockbuster.
So he has a quick battle for a taxi with Steve Martin, and it's just so damn good. All right, and the last one that they put on here is, of course, Stan Lee in every Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Okay, I call BS on that. Right here, right now. This is another thing that I will absolutely die on. Instead of that, so I'm okay with, again, like we talked about earlier, Steal Like an Artist, but don't act like it's the original thing. I, in that spot, would have put Stan Lee in Mallrats. Because Kevin Smith convinced Stan Lee to come in on Mallrats far before the Marvel Cinematic Universe was roping him in to doing that.
So
and
you think
love his cameos, to be clear.
Yeah, I mean they're all great. They're all funny. You're waiting for when's he gonna show up.
Stan Lee in the Marvel movies is probably potentially the best part of the Marvel movies. Potentially, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen all of them, so I can't say that definitively. But
Marvel fans.
But like he gave out great relationship advice in Mallrats.
So you think that would be like a more
appropriate,
like a more shocking appearance?
It was.
I think it would be because you think Mallrats, you're like I had no idea. Like why the hell would Stan Lee show up in this movie?
Yeah, and it's just I'm sure there's a story. I'm sure we could YouTube it. Kevin Smith's probably talked about it, but like. I think that is far more.
Yeah, putting
pivotal.
him as the cameos in all the movies, that's like that doesn't belong number one. That should have been like the
30,
the end of the list,
Yeah. I think of the like these cameo lists. Personally, I would probably order it by like most known to least known, maybe, or at least my perception of that. And I think. Who doesn't know that Stan Lee? Even people who have never seen a Marvel movie, they know. Stan
I'm
Lee's
sure they've
them.
heard like, oh yeah, doesn't Stan Lee like show up in every movie?
Yeah.
Like, yep.
So I think I definitely would have put Mallrats. I think putting the Marvel movies as a cop out a little bit.
I agree with you because that is more interesting to me than him being like in the context of that list. It's more interesting to me. Him being in Mallrats than them just basically being like, oh yeah, can't forget Stan Lee, number one, he's in every movie.
Yeah, that was Mallrats is 1995. So
wow,
that was a powerhouse cameo to a certain group of people.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, would people watching that movie have even known who he was?
I think the target audience for that movie would have known exactly who that was.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Well, that was a fun little avenue we went down.
Listeners, if you have any other cameos that you think are fun or interesting, let us know because you've heard my opinion. We'd like to hear yours. I think some of the coolest ones are some of the most obvious ones. I think it is really cool that Stan Lee's in all the Marvel movies, to be clear.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun. I like it.
I think it's more interesting to cinema history and to cameos in general that he was in Mallrats first, before a lot of people, the popular culture would recognize who he is. And I think the Keith Richards thing is, although it's like super on the nose, it was still super cool.
It was still fun that they did it.
Seeing
like,
that
yeah,
in
that's
the
cool.
theater. When I remember watching that, I was like, "Is that Keith? Oh, it's Keith Richards!"
It's Keith Richards.
Yeah, and then that he was such a powerful, influence in the pirate lore and stuff was just, it was very appropriate without being, I thought, too ridiculous. But anyway, do you have a favorite then? Like, where you're always like, that's my
favorite cameo?
Yeah, like if you go back and you watch it, well, like he's mentioned Lord of the Rings, you're always like, there's Peter Jackson kids, and there's Sean Astin's kid is in Lord of the Rings as well. Samwise Gamgee. Who recently graduated from college.
Now, was that his kid, or was it just that it was the kid, the girl who plays his kid, and then she graduated, and then there was a picture of them together?
I think at the end of Return of the King, it was Samwise Gamgee's. You see his daughter, which was also Sean Astin's daughter in real life. And okay. I think, if I remember right, it's been a little while since I've powerhoused those Lord of the Rings movies. Because I refuse to watch anything but the extended editions, so that's a time commitment.
That's a big commitment. Okay. Favorite cameo. I don't know if I have an absolute favorite. That's a tough one. Which one did you say was your favorite? The Keith Richards one?
Yeah, Keith Richards, the Stan Lee one in Mallrats, Alan Tudyk in anything. I don't care if he's like the lead. I'm always like, it's Alan Tudyk. I think it's hard for me to come up with one. I don't know if there's one that like just absolutely stands out as my favorite. I guess Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers was really great. Yeah, I enjoyed that one a lot. And I don't know, like, I can't remember the first time I saw it. Like, I don't know if I was, I don't think I was expecting that. So I was like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably say that one for now. Although, okay, that Matt Damon one in Eurotrip, I need to watch that movie again. But just the picture of him from the clip in this BuzzFeed list, he's like, he just looks like wild. His mouth's open, his tongue's like sticking out.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the Matt Damon everyone knows and loves.
You know,
that's what makes it so great, because it's so different.
It does.
Okay, what about, I know this is pretty much breaking the rule of the cameo that we're talking about here, but it was like, was it also similarly unexpected? Was Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder? Because he was like one of the main character. Well, not the main character, but he was a character throughout the whole movie.
I think his acting in that is what was so unexpected,
and the appearance of his character's appearance, like
even
his physical appearance.
Yeah, even by the casting and like the crew and stuff, like they all talk about how shocking he was in character in that movie and how he just committed. So yeah, that was pretty good.
So
I will say, I don't know if this counts, but speaking of talking about Matt Damon, singing and punking out in that movie, I was thinking of like at the end of Rat Race when Smash Mouth is there and they crash into that Smash Mouth concert. Like, for me, that was very unexpected. I just, because it was themselves and they do All Star, and it's like that was kind of in some ways like the epitome of that era of movies. But man,
that's a movie I haven't seen in a while.
I just loved that. I just love Rat Race, honestly. The whole movie, top to bottom, was just absurd and fantastic, and like,
because there's this thing, right? Like,
yeah, and they just cover the whole gamut of.
There's like potty humor.
And yeah, sometimes it's literal potty humor.
I'm prairie dogging it.
I'm prairie dogging it. Yes. Or Rowan Atkinson is the narcoleptic. Although I think watching that movie in today's like political climate would
I think it would be. Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, it's about a bunch of rich guys in Las Vegas who set up a like dead drop of money, and they tell certain people randomly in a casino, they give like certain people a chip or something that tells them to come to like an executive suite, and they tell them, hey, there's this money in this place. First person who goes to get it wins. And they're all like, oh, okay. And some people think they're, being shined on or whatever, but they all go for it. But then you find out that all these executives and stuff from Vegas and different things are like just gambling on who's going to win. And like that's the point of the movie from their perspective, and it's just these rich guys who are screwing around with these poor people basically. And just thinking about that in today's political climate sounds kind of depressing.
Might be worth yeah.
But it's a hilarious
Interesting
movie.
to see.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is great. I think for the most part, safe to watch with your parents.
With your parents?
I mean, there's some movies where I think I would feel weird about watching it with my parents.
Watching with your parents as a child, or watching with your parents now as an adult?
Both. Or watching it like with, some movies, it's like, I don't know. I watched it with my siblings, and they're 8 and 10 years younger than me, and that was fine. So it was relatively family friendly, from what I recall. So yeah, I don't even know if that counts as a cameo, but Rat Race, which is great. Just great. Cool. Well, I think that's a wrap.
I think so.
I think that's a wrap.
One more thought on Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. Thinking about Tom Cruise, I guess think whatever you want about him as far as like his, religious beliefs and is he crazy, is he not, whatever. But you can't dispute that the man commits to his roles, and he is a great actor.
True.
Anyway.
No, I can't dispute that.
And he does a lot of his own stunts.
Almost all of his own
in his Mission Impossible era, which has been a long time now.
Which is like 20 years long now,
yeah.
Right?
Well, shoot, that would have been like 95, the first one.
Was it? I think that sounds about right.
So that would be 25 years now, 26.
Sheesh. And he's still going.
Yeah, he's making there's another one coming out, and I'm sure there's ones after that. Anyway, yeah, I think we can wrap. Yeah, it was a good episode.
Cool. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I have actually heard from one of our loyal listeners. They sent me a picture that they had completed episode 3 and eagerly awaiting for the next episode, and asked me why we hadn't posted it yet. So we're shooting for an every 2 week-ish drop date.
It'll be out Wednesday.
I let her know.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone. You can catch us on the old Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, at The Open Eclectic, all one word. If you feel like throwing us a couple shekels, we're on Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi. If you want to give a little bit of a donation, maybe we can, and we put that towards some better equipment and everything. So
we'll put it towards our Cameo budget.
Yes, Will Ferrell.
Or Tom Cruise, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
You'd find out how intimidating he is in real life.
Wow, can you imagine sitting down for an interview with Tom Cruise?
I honestly, I can't. I don't know what kind of research I would have to do for that.
Oh, God.
Because, yeah, you just think about...
I don't know if I could do it.
I don't know. That would be... I'd have to prepare a lot.
Yes, a lot. I'd be like, okay, I'm watching his entire catalog.
I know.
I'm watching every interview he's ever done.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, yeah, so check us out. So if you go to our Facebook page, we have planned our first event. Josh and I are planning on going to see on, or I guess as close to as our schedules allow, to the premiere of Top Gun 2. Speaking of Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Top Gun, one of both of us favorite movies all time.
Oh yeah.
So we've really been looking forward to this Top Gun 2, which has been delayed. I want to say twice because of the pandemic and everything. But it's slated to come out in November. Check out the Facebook page for the exact date, or Google it or whatever. But anyway, yeah, we're planning on going to see it, and I'm sure there'll be an episode about it. So
absolutely,
be on the lookout. All right, farewell.
Good night, everybody. Speaking of ripping off stuff from other places, like from Frasier.
Everybody, good night.
Good night, everybody. Something about scrambled eggs. Thank you so much for listening. You can find The Open Eclectic on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and MySpace. Want us to ramble on about something specific, or have a comment on what you just heard? Send us an email at theopeneclectic@gmail.com. We now have a Ko-Fi if you feel like supporting the show. That's ko-fi.com/theopeneclectic. or support the show by leaving us a review. Thanks. We hope you'll join us again next time on The Open Eclectic.